Good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Joshua. I'm going to be your presenter today. I hope everybody can hear me okay. Welcome to today's event. It is promptly 1 p.m. Eastern Time here on Thursday. We're here to talk about custom account groups. While we've had this topic in earlier versions of Church Windows, we kind of felt it was a good time to revisit it today, just as a reminder of what else you can do in accounting and reporting and accounting, etc. So before we get started on that, a few things, technical things. If you click the little red arrow on the sidebar of your webinar control panel, that will minimize the control panel, get it out of the way, or you can drag it off to your second desktop if you have a dual monitor setup. We are recording today's event. While our company business, our country, the nation, the world is all affected by a whole lot of stuff right now, we're trying to do our best to ensure that you have the information available to you in terms of Church Windows to help kind of keep things moving forward for you and your churches. I'm actually conducting this event from my home today. So again, we're doing pretty well at kind of keeping things rolling here. If you have questions, please type those into the What Questions portion of the webinar control panel. I'll do my best to keep an eye on that. I'll try to I'll repeat the question for everyone's benefit, and then we'll see what we can't do to get that question answered. Please keep the questions on topic, in this case about the custom account groups function or feature in the software. Not because I don't want to answer the questions for you, I just may not be equipped in my data about that or answer that. And of course, even though, I think our phones are available and open if you need to call us. If not, you can always email technical support, at least for now, but we're trying our best to get back to full telephone support here as quickly as humanly possible. The event today is taken from our A201 workbook, pages 7 through 10 or 7 through 11 custom account groups. And so that's what we're going to be discussing today. I'm going to wrap things up promptly at 20 minutes after, if not before, if the topic happens to go shorter than that, but I will wrap it up right at 20 minutes after if it happens to be right at that time frame, okay? If you have workbooks, of course, please turn to page 7 of the workbook there, up to A201, and you can follow right along. That's what I'm using today. If you don't have the workbooks, you can purchase those right from our store online or from the download current or workbooks page on the website if you need them. And if you'd like to order those, because we do try to keep the webinars with those, in keeping with those as much as possible. So, all right, let's jump into page 7 here. So, at the top of page 7, it talks about custom account groups as a feature that basically allows you to select specific or select accounts that you want to see on reports and then assign them a name, okay? So when you run a report, you're limiting that report to the name of that grouping. Whether it's a committee or a group name or what have you, you can name it whatever you want. You can always edit it too, okay? So there are a couple ways that custom account groups are set up. You can go, we're at our main accounting home screen. I'm working with a single monitor here, folks, so I'm kind of having to toggle back and forth here, so it might be just a little bit different than normal, but we go up to Manage Accounts here in the upper left, and then just below that in the upper left there, you'll see the option here called Custom Groups. Let me get my drawing tool right here, Custom Groups, all right? That's where that can be found. That's where you can add them. I'll show you where else you can add them as well. So let me get back to my regular drawing tool here. And then, so when you click on Custom Groups, it opens the Custom Groups window. You can also get to it by going to From Reports pages too. So when you go to something like, say, our Treasurer's Report, we go right here to the tab called Custom Account Groups. And right here, you can click the Add Custom Account Groups button down here at the very bottom center of that or in the middle, and that allows you to open up the Custom Account Groups window. Okay, so when we click on that, it opens up our Custom Account Groups page. So that's how you can access that. But we're going to go up to the one that says Manage Accounts there. I'm just going to show you how when you click on that, it opens up the exact same screen. Okay? So some reasons why you might want to set up and use custom account groups are described there at the bottom of page 7 and into page 8. Example number 1 is you have a specific group of people that are meeting to discuss the particular accounts. You don't want to have that particular group see all of the accounts, like on, say, the treasurer's report or something like that. You only want to have them see the accounts that they want to see, okay? And then you can just run that, and frequently this is, groups, folks that I work with will name these after the particular committee group that is meeting or that the report is for. You can name it whatever you want. You can even amend it or change it if you wish. Or perhaps you want to run, say, the list chart of accounts report, and you only want to see certain accounts on the list chart of accounts report. Custom account groups feature allows you to do that, to filter those. Or even more so, if, say, you want to go into something like, say, transactions and browse here in the upper left, and you go right here to change your filter and sort, and right here in the upper left of our transaction browser options, we see a tab called Custom Account Groups. So you can limit the transactions that you're seeing on the Custom Account Groups page to just the transactions that are related to or involving those accounts in that particular custom group. So there's a lot of reasons why custom account groups might prove to be helpful for you. I also like to point out as part of this as well is when we go to something like our reports under, like, again, Treasurer's Report, just because simply it's a common one, nowhere on the Treasurer's Report options page do we have a choice to be able to say, okay, I want to choose this starting account through this ending account. I can't choose a range of accounts, okay? The only thing option you have is either accounts with zero balances right here on the left, or if you want to, say, choose accounts that as they're linked to a specific fund. Well, maybe that doesn't give you the restrict you to the limit, the accounts that you're wanting to actually see on the particular report. It's still including more accounts than you need, or it's not including accounts that you want to add because they might be linked to, say, different funds, not just one. So again, another effective or explanation or reason why you might want to create and set up custom groups. The custom groups, when we go back to that window, to add the custom group as page 8 displays there, right up here in the upper right, we've got our two. Let me go back to get my drawing tool again. I just kind of want to draw some focus here for you. So if, right here, we've got our, basically it's split into two sides. Our account groups list, which is here on the right, and then we've got our actual list chart of accounts, our entire chart of accounts that are listed here on the left. So it's kind of a split screen, basically. We've got our groups here on the right and all of our accounts that are listed over here on the left. And so you're kind of working back and forth between those two sides to determine, to move the accounts into the particular group. So then we click plus sign here in the upper right. We're going to call this one office expenses, as the example in the workbooks points out, office expenses. So we click OK, and now here it shows that new group name in the upper right, and now we have to go over to our list on the left, and we have to find the accounts that we want to include as part of that report, okay? So what I like to do is I like to do collapse all. You do have a search box up here, so if you go up to where it says total assets and you clear that out and you just start typing in either a name or a number, it will allow you to find specific accounts you're wanting that way. So it's nice and easy. A lot of folks aren't aware that that's an actual search box. So we click on, say, office expenses. It now finds it in our account list on the left. And so we can highlight an account, and then we click the right-facing arrow, or we can double-click on it, and it'll move it over there. Either one, highlight it and double-click, or highlight it and click the right-facing arrow here, add to group column button here, the right-facing arrow in the middle to add that to the list, okay? So that's just one of the options that we have available to us. The other option is, and I like to point this out, down at the bottom left it says hold Shift or Control key to select multiple items. So these are Microsoft-based applications, folks. So if you want to select a group or, sorry, range of accounts, I can go, okay, I want my bank fees through my copy machine expenses. I can hold down my Shift key, highlight bank fees, choose copy machine, and notice it's highlighting all of the accounts in between. Again, I can click the right-facing arrow to move those accounts over, okay? Or I can, highlight and hold down my Control key, and I can, put spaces or, choose random accounts, maybe if they're not listed sequentially in the list. And again, once they're highlighted, I would simply click the right-facing arrow to move them over. And it will, as it tells us here clearly, when I tried to add office expense, that it already is part of the group, not going to let you add the same account to the group more than one time, okay? So the one we do want to add is, say, paper, okay? So again, lots and lots of flexibility here. So, if I go, oh, the account, I didn't want to add my continuing ed conferences to that group, I just simply highlight it, and either I double-click on it to move it off the list on the right, or I highlight it and hit the left-facing arrow to remove that, okay? So again, lots and lots of control and ability to be able to decide what accounts you want to add, okay? Maybe we've got some, salary expenses. Maybe our church administrator salary and benefits is considered part of our office expense. Maybe we want to see that. Why this is important is we've got a situation where we've got a ledger with sub-accounts. So if I try to add the one that says church administrator salary, if I highlight that and try to click the right-facing arrow, it's going to pop up with a message that says, when adding a ledger, sub-ledger account, you must add the entire ledger. So it won't allow me to grab just one sub-ledger, sub-account as part of that ledger and move it over. The purpose of the ledger is that we want those accounts to report together all the time. We don't want to report on them separately, okay? So if I did, I would have to add all of the accounts. So if I do that, it adds both the church administrator pension and the church administrator salary to the actual custom group list on the right-hand side, okay? So at the bottom of page 8, it talks about using your Control key. At the top of page 9, it talks about the Shift key, for choosing either random accounts or a range of accounts or a block of accounts, as it were, okay, and to make those selections. As page 9 does point out, there is an account can belong to numerous or several different custom account groups. You're not restricted to only having one account be part of one custom account group. It can belong to as many custom account groups as you want, okay? As many different custom account groups as you wish. So again, one of the nice things I like to tell folks on my support calls about custom account groups is that basically once the custom group is built, it's there in perpetuity until you decide to either delete it, and if you need to go in and change the accounts, you can just come into the custom account groups window, find the group from the list in the upper right, and make desired changes, either adding new accounts to it or taking accounts away from it. As I stated earlier, if I didn't like the one that says office expenses, I can choose it from the menu in the upper right and then click the little pencil icon, and it'll opens up the edit group name window and allows me to change the name of that group. So if I don't like it, I can always change it, okay? It's your choice. Again, one of the most common support calls I get in support as a technician is when a person adds new accounts to their chart of accounts and they try to run, say, their treasurer's report or balance sheet or something. They go, oh, this new account isn't showing. And one of the first things they find out, or I find out on the support call, is they're selecting a custom account group when they're running the report, and they haven't added that new account or those new accounts to the custom account group. So adding the account may not be enough. you might have to go in and amend or add, like change subtotals or, add accounts to custom groups. There just may be more additional work that needs to be done in addition to just simply setting up and adding the new accounts, okay? So now when we want to run the custom group, what we do is, please forgive me, we go up to something like reports, financial, treasurer's report, and I'm going to leave it as, say, March 2020. We're going to, check accounts with zero balances. We're going to do custom account groups. We see our new one called office expenses there. I put a check mark in that, and then I simply click, I might want to visit my columns and determine what information columns I want to see. But then when I click print, it will now only bring in those particular accounts as they pertain to that particular custom account group. Sorry, folks, give me a second here. My report's on my other page here. I've got to pull that back over here so you can see it. Like I said, I got 2 monitors at my office, but the GoToAssist or the My PC software only has 1. So here's our treasurer's report, and it shows just the handful or half a dozen or dozen expense accounts that I've chosen for that particular custom group. All of the others have been omitted automatically. You're not even restricted to putting accounts of the same type in the custom group, okay? So you can add accounts from from assets all the way through expenses into a particular custom group. And yes, in this case, if I add assets, liabilities, or funds to my office expenses group, they're not going to report on my treasurer's report because those aren't income and expenses. Whoops, I'm sorry, folks. Please forgive me. So it's only going to report still on the accounts that the report is relevant to. So if I were to run my balance sheet and choose my custom account group, none of these expenses or accounts that are on my treasurer's report are now suddenly going to pop into that report either. Okay, so again, you can still mix and match in the group, and the reports are still going to just include the accounts as they relate to that particular report. It's not going to suddenly now go, oh, I've got assets, liabilities, and funds showing on my treasurer's report. It doesn't work that way. But if you have 2 different a balance sheet and a treasurer's report for 2 committees, use this, add all the accounts to the one group and then just run the 2 separate reports. It'll bring in all the necessary accounts on both reports as needed, okay, depending on the account types. So anyway, and that's it, folks. So that is our topic for today. I'm sorry, there's one more thing I want to show you. I think I've got some things in here. So if I go to transactions, browse, I want to go right up to change here, filter and sort, because I think I've got some stuff in here for this, and we click OK, and there they are. There are the handful of expenses that I have charged. In this case, it looks like I've got an office expense bill as well as my payroll for my church administrator. There's all of their payroll, transactions, and bills and expenses for the expenses that are linked to that custom group for the year. Very, very nice, very simple and easy too. So, all right, now that's our topic.